Okay, so hello, I'm very happy to be here to remember my years I spent in my contacts with judiciary and candidates to Judiciary of Lithuania. And I want to say that it happened a little bit accidentally that I became not only the member of the appointing commission for judges, but I even became a chairperson for that commission for 4 years. So when I was listening and looking at possible criteria of choosing the members of appointing commissions, as kind of advisors were mentioned psychologists or human resources specialists. I am nor psychologist, neither human resources specialist. I am a specialist in human mental disorders. So therefore it was a little bit dubious how I will be able to fulfill my obligations. But we have here several members of that commission, not to mention the member of the High Court, Judge Sigita Rudenaitė. We worked all these years together, so maybe I can listen from outside how it worked. But I want to tell that this experience reminded me about some fundamental questions in human psychology and psychiatry. And one of these fundamental questions is, can we measure consciousness? Can we measure fairness? And when I say measure, I have in mind quite clear psychometric procedure when we can have from our investigation process numbers which say this is conscious for 5 units, this is for 10, and this is for 15. So therefore, this for 15 units is the best candidate. And I want to say this is, to this day, not solved problem for science of psychology. We have no instrument to measure that. We have some instruments which are developing quite quickly now to have indications of some deceit. So it means that, for example, for intelligent purposes, for military purposes, for law enforcement purposes, even in the closed-circuit TV following of the people in the massive environments, there are some clues we can use for suspicion that there are people with some bad intentions. But when we see somebody sitting in front of us and we talk to him or her, there is no instrument to reliably measure what this person has back of his mind. So therefore, I've read, preparing to that presentation, plenty of recent research after I finished my job in that commission, and I must to say that conclusion of majority of these articles is very clear, that we can even measure the brain electric activity. We can use single positron emission tomography to measure the biochemistry and metabolism of the brain. And still, we cannot guarantee what we see. Because our brain and our psyche is very flexible. And it appears that if somebody wants, he or she can easily learn deceptive techniques, how to make the machine fool. So we are still the best intellectual apparatuses in the environment. It's kind of optimistic, but on the other hand, for the purposes of selection of judges, it's a little bit a kind of sad news. So how we can overcome that limitation of technologies? I think only by comparing the person and his or her life. We have to have information how the person behaved in some crucial situations. And I think that this is difficult. This is difficult because indeed we have plenty, not only information, but gossips around. And how to select, how to divide truthful information from gossips about the person is a very difficult question. But I think this is about our social maturity, how we can trust our informants, how we can trust our documents we get in this commission, how we can trust some research data. By the way, when I was a chairperson of that commission, we introduced one novelty. In my opinion, very small one, because in the documents for candidates was written that they should present the data of psychological investigation before they apply for the job. We changed one word, not data, but conclusion of investigation by psychologists. It seems so simple, because data means numbers which for members of the commission mean nothing. Mean nothing, absolutely. Conclusions about this data made by professionals made a difference, but it produced a havoc. It was really a terrible process of fight against that single word to be changed, and as far as I know, finally judges through the court rejected that these conclusions of psychologists can be included in the documents of the selection procedure. So for me, it shows a little bit of fear and anxiety on part of these candidates that something can be seen behind the image they want to present. And I should say, maybe, not necessarily always, but maybe, because I think that in this selection, we should use not the image of the person, but the face of the person. And sometimes between face and image, there is quite considerable distance. So I understand that to measure personality as a totality is impossible. We can measure some features of personality. And consciousness, which is one of the most important things for judiciary, unfortunately, is impossible to measure. So how we will proceed, what we should do, it's a very crucial question if we want to have a better judiciary in every country. So, sorry that I gave no bright future for your imagination, but I think Sergei Muravyovas will tell a few words about possibilities. So, thank you.